Hi there, I'm Dick Allgaier. The Bob Lazar story has been one of the hot topics in both ufology and even pop culture for over 30 years. Bob Lazar claims that he worked at a secret government base in the Nevada desert trying to reverse engineer captured alien spacecraft. A fantastic story, to be sure. Yet, whistleblowers are now going before Congress and testifying under oath that, in fact, the U.S. government does have alien spacecraft in its possession. This was given to some of the top remote viewers in the world, me included, as a double-blind target, meaning we weren't told who tasked the target, we weren't told anything about the nature of the target, and we produced about 100 pages, more than 100 pages of detailed, fantastic data. The data was so good that we contacted one of the top UFO researchers, Richard Dolan. He's an author and we think one of the most credible UFO researchers in the world. And we had a meeting with Richard Dolan where we presented our data. He was floored. It was an amazing 3-hour session we had with him. We feel that this was so important that we documented every moment of it, both the remote viewing, we did live video of the remote viewing, and then our meeting with Richard Dolan, we recorded it all, and I'm going to show you the introductions. As we came on Zoom, we met with Richard Dolan, we explained the project, and we showed a little bit of our data. Each remote viewer showed one page, and Richard Dolan's reaction is priceless. As I said, we felt it was important to document every moment of that, so here is about the first 20 minutes where we meet Richard Dolan, talk to him about this, and show him just a little sliver of our data. Enjoy this.
Demi doesn't know what the target is yet.
Oh, she's going to be surprised. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun email to read at work today.
I bet you were like, damn.
I had to walk away for a minute.
Hey,
Hi, Richard. How are you?
Hey, good to see
Hi,
you,
Richard.
Again. Hi. Can you hear me? You can.
Loud and
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah, perfect.
Hello, everybody.
I know you just have to bear with us a minute because everyone's from around the globe at the moment, and we have yourself and we have 2 new viewers that were at the target joining us this evening as well. We have Dimi from Romania, isn't it, Dimi?
Hi, Demi.
I'm very honored to be here with you all and you, Richard, on because I followed your work since my beginning of UFO interest. So thank you, and nice to see you there, Dennis. Bye.
That's very
Nice to
kind
see you,
of
Demi.
Very kind, and thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
And we also have I think one of Dick's viewers, I think he might, if he's attending, a guy called Derek, who we've never worked with before, that might be attending as well. He was one of the viewers on this project as well. Demi and Derek are kind of like guest viewers on this project, because I've been mentoring Demi in the background, and I think Dick does some work with Derek, so we just gave these targets out to them to, just as training targets to see how they did. And they did so well that we decided to pull them in on this as well.
This is exciting.
It's Dimi doesn't know what the target is yet. We usually go through a process where we
Edward.
Yeah, we haven't usually revealed the target yet. I think Dick accidentally let the cat out of the bag to some of the viewers this evening.
He didn't give us the tasking. He just told us that it was related to Richard and Bob. But that's really all he said in the email. So we don't know specifically what the target was or the location or anything like that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. All the RV work's been
Yeah.
done blind, and no one knew anything to this day. So yeah, we're just waiting for the other guys.
Dr. Reardon, nice to see you, sir.
Howdy ho, everybody.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Here
Nice
comes
to meet
Derek.
you too. Nice to meet you as well. I've seen you. I don't spend a lot of time on the Facebook thing, but I see you up there often, and so I'm glad you're doing a lot of remote viewing. Stick with it.
I did have an email conversation about this one with and I showed him some of the data with Tom Dolan this evening.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dad, just so
Uh,
in case there's anything sensitive, we're recording right now this session. Just
Yeah,
so you
that's
know.
that's
Okay.
fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, he's very impressed by the data on this one as well, and hopefully I'm trying to arrange that. Hopefully, sometime in the near future, after he's finished, because he's rehearsing for a tour at the moment. He told me, but sometime after that, he said he would come on and do an interview about UAP stuff in.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
What's the target ID? Is it the G7?
G7N3.
Okay.
Dad, you're gonna run this one as host tonight. I mean, I can introduce us if you want, and I can
Yeah,
just
if you want to
hand it off
introduce
to you.
us,
Okay,
I'll then go into the I got the project tasking, how I created the target, and some a small amount of feedback. But the reason why we got Richard here is because Richard's more of an expert on this than any of us are. With his vast history and writing all the books on the subject and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be good as you guys go through your RV sessions, trying to only go through the important stuff, because we got extra viewers
a lot
here
of
as well, so
people
we
here.
want to keep the time down a bit. And if Richard wants to chime in with any information that he can provide on what he's seeing, that would be fantastic.
I'll do my best.
And then afterwards, we can have a discussion, because I've seen all the data, so some of the data's got implications in it, which is really accurate on the ball data. And in light of all the latest UAP news and the whistleblower disclosures, all that kind of stuff, it adds a new dimension.
All right, here's Dick.
Okay, and my video's on.
We can see you.
Mr. Algar.
Nice to meet
Mr.
you.
Algar.
I've followed and admired your work for many years.
Oh,
You're
thank
one
you.
of the top researchers. I'm well aware of what you've done.
Thank you
This
very,
is-
very much.
This is going to be an interesting presentation.
Hey, I've seen one full video that you guys did, and I was just astonished. You guys are so good. So and I'm curious about this hitchhiker effect that you did an RV on that. On hitchhiker?
Yeah, it wasn't this group of viewers here. I mean, some of the viewers here worked it, like Dennis, myself, Dimmy was the project manager. I think Naeem worked it. It's for just a curated group of viewers I run called Hellfire Group. I'll send you the link to that though.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, we got some really good data on that, and
That's terrifying stuff.
it was forwarded to the appropriate people that are actually involved in all that as well, so they've actually seen it as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I haven't met. Is it Dimmy? Hi, Dimmy.
Hi, Dick. Very, very, very honored to meet you, and I followed your work for years.
You're in Romania, Hungary,
Yes,
somewhere like that.
I'm in Romania, and I think from my language, everybody is thinking that I'm from Russia, so I can be taken as a Russian girl. But I'm from Romania, very close to Russia, of course, for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And
So,
Derek
yeah.
is here. For those of you that haven't met Derek, he's a old HRVG viewer that we
Derek.
passed him along the target, and he worked at Double Blind. So this is going to be Richard Dolan. Are you feeling vindicated these days, somewhat?
I'm happy that we've made a bit of progress in our public conversation on the subject of UFO or UAP. I don't worry about being vindicated. Honestly, I love what I do. There's an infinite number of mysteries to dive into the subject, and I keep myself busy just exploring. But and by the way, we're still taking baby steps, in my opinion, as far as where we're at in a public conversation. So we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
But it is exciting. It's definitely exciting.
Well, Mr. Dolan, yeah, Derek Cabana.
Hi, Derek.
Seen if you've put it out there on television, I've seen it. If it's out there on if it's out there on YouTube, I've seen it.
Wow.
And in the scope of what we're doing, I'm a big fan. Appreciate all the effort and all the work and the dedication that it takes to step up and put this type of focus on your life.
Well, thank you very much, Derek. Honestly, I feel very lucky. That's the truth. I feel very lucky that I get I mean, aside of this, or what else will I do with my life? I can't work at Target; they won't have me. There's nothing else that I'm good for. This is it. This is all I can do. So I'm glad I can do it.
All right. So it looks like we have everybody here. We did this Dick, you want me to chunk these up into sections, stop this one so we have the separate, like this will be our pre-chat. I'll stop this session.
Well, let's
and we'll
talk a
jump into a
little.
new one.
Let's talk about what the target is a little bit.
Yeah.
On this
Okay.
one. Yeah, and then when you say, okay, it's time to present the full data, we can make it.
We'll do our full, our
Do
normal.
you want me to go
Okay.
through the target tasking? I got a little like PowerPoint. I can do that and some feedback because Dimmy doesn't know what the target is yet.
And did I let the cat out of the bag?
You did.
You kind of did in the email,
You
yes.
did. You did today.
But the work,
Yeah.
I mean, it was just
You let
today.
you let the whole family of cats out of the bag. Is that right? The whole caboodle ran out.
Yikes!
That's all
Okay.
right.
For the record, we all worked this double blind.
Double
when
blind.
We did our work. We didn't communicate with each other, and we didn't know who gave the target, and we
Did
weren't
not know
coached.
who gave the target.
Yeah, today, and for timestamp references, it's August 15th today, 2023. And Dick had sent out an email. We communicate about our projects, the day of sometimes. And Dick had sent out an email and he referenced that Richard was going to be here tonight. And we weren't aware of that. So that's what we're laughing about right now. But we didn't know what the target was until a few hours ago. So
So the target is not Mr. Dolan.
no.
God, hope not.
So do you want to do the, because typically I'm just thinking, here's a housekeeping question here. So sorry for this, but typically we go through the presentation on our normal run of things. But we can do a target reveal and you can why don't you just tell us what the target is?
Yeah,
and then
let's
we'll get
talk
into,
about. Yeah,
then we'll do our session and you
amongst
can go through your
ourselves.
presentation. So let's have a little target talk and then you do your presentation when we do our actual formal segment, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah. Well,
So
the
what
target
was it,
for
Jeff?
this was and the target number was that random number that we all have, and then the target itself, which is the what, was a person known as Robert or Bob Lazar, and the where was an area called S4 near Area 51 in Nevada, USA. And I picked a specific time for this, which was December 1998 to the end of February 1989. And it was essentially to see, it was an ARV target. This was an associative remote viewing. So there was two parts to it. There was an A part, which was if this is a true event, the remote viewer would look at the real event and then describe it. If this isn't a real event and there was nothing there, then the remote viewer would go to the B target, which would be the stone Buddha kind of statue that I have in my back garden. And I think you guys will all agree that none of you described a stone Buddha statue that resided in my garden.
Funny though, because throughout the work of this, like while I was working at Target, simultaneously, I started picking up books on Buddhism and reading about Buddhism. So that's an odd coincidence there.
Yeah, there's no stone statue Buddha data though in any
nothing
of the
in the
RV
data.
sessions. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the RV that and in summary, all your guys' data is fantastic. It all does detail strange kind of technologies, lots of data across the board about a sandy remote kind of location with big doors on it was what really impressed me was the big doors, because I remembered stories from Bob talking about how these big doors were built into the side of the mountain that let the craft out and stuff. And some of you detailed craft, the propulsion systems, the people involved in the craft, the actual military people involved and what was involved there as well. So huge amounts of data on this one that corresponds with the story that we've been hearing about for over 20 years.
Wow, really cool.
Yeah. Wow.
I knew Dimmy would like this one. She's a great fan of UAP stuff, and she'd had no idea what this target was whatsoever.
No.
Richard Dolan, what's your take on Bob Lazar?
I've supported Bob's basic stories probably for close to 20 years. When I first began studying UFOs, I was terrified of that story because it was just so controversial. But around 2005, 2006, I started really diving in preparation for one of my books, and I wrote a lot about it in one book. I think about 12 pages or so. It was enough, and I became convinced that he was truthful. I took a lot of flack for a while about that. I recall Stanton Friedman was never happy with what I had to say about it, but I had a lot of trust in George Knapp's journalism on it, and also the fact that Lazar, everyone knows this, he just never changed one iota of his story. He was always, I mean, even when he was under legal action, I mean, he had many opportunities to modify what he had to say. He never did. And I read many of his interviews that he gave, at the transcripts of them back in the early 90s. And I just have to say, my sense was that he was always very low key, very level headed. I never had there were no red flags for me. As crazy, as outrageous as his story was. And as the years have gone by, I've never changed that opinion. I've always felt that he was basically truthful. Even the whole issue about his education really never bothered me. Back in the 80s and 90s, those of us who were old enough to remember, I knew a lot of people who made up stories about their education. I mean, it's just how it was. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it was not unusual. People fudged that kind of information all the time, and I don't know, it just didn't really strike me as a real stumbling block. And then as years went by, I listened to Bob talk about the MIT and Caltech stuff, and I just felt that he answered my questions pretty well, the ones that I'd had, and I believe his story. I guess that's basically it. And then the other thing is, after he was done with his stint at S4, he's talking to folks. He's talking to John Lear and others, saying, "Hey, by the way, I know that they're doing testing of these exotic craft. Let's go take a look." He knew exactly where to go. He knew when they were being done. It just too much of it fits together for me. And then the whole Los Alamos connection, all checked out. Even the Edward Teller part, where Teller denied anything to do with Lazar. I watched Teller's video clip on that, and he was utterly unbelievable. And I thought it was obvious that he absolutely knew who Lazar was. He was very angry about it. So yeah, I've been a supporter of Bob Lazar.
Have you seen any of our work that we're going to present tonight? Has Daz showed that to you?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Oh, so you're seeing this cold?
Totally.
Oh, this is going to be really interesting. Daz, how many of us worked this? Were there 6?
It was you, Dimmy, even Dennis worked this one. Edward, Derek, and Naeem. Yes, 6. Yeah.
So we got a lot of data to go through.
Lots of data, and there's probably too much to see it in depth. So you guys are probably gonna have to skip through and show your best bits.
Show your best, yeah.
There's a lot in there. I mean, Lazar, he was there for I think 6 or 7 times. He had a variety of different kinds of experiences as well. So this will be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to make for a really fun discussion on this one. What a piece of history here too, and I love watching now Bob's story come out in such a credible way, and the attention and the focus that it's getting. And
to talk about vindication, he's the one who should feel vindicated.
Absolutely, in hearing that. So hopefully this will give him some more. Not that he needs it, but just another little piece to the puzzle here that we can fill in. To that. Yeah. Well, do we want to get into to our session? We can get in. I'll get us started.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Today is Tuesday, August 15th, 2023. The time is 8:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Taking a look at our most interesting data point, we're going to start with Edward.
All right. I think I'll go with, let me see if I can. Oh boy. Well, this one right here. I got these 2 people. They're like scientific researcher types. And they're looking and studying this thing here, and they're trying to decipher what the heck it is. I'll go with that.
Okay.
This is blind, double blind?
Double blind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Naeem?
Go with this one here. I just put this picture here for reference, but yeah, I see a guy, a researcher on a scientific endeavor, trying to figure out something baffling. It's like the question of the century. Incredulous people are saying it's impossible, stuff like that. So that's my little teaser there.
Okay, Dick.
I had that same thing Edward did, and we'll get to that in the full session, but I'm going to show, I've got these guys standing around a craft and it's got light shining down on it, and they're not sure how to proceed. Like they've got to wait for a proper team to come take charge, but they're standing there sort of stupefied. They're worried about hazardous material like radiation or toxins or biological stuff. But there's a chain of command and jurisdictional issues.
Okay, thank you, Dick. Derek.
And can you see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, craft hovering silently, rotating. It had pulsing lights, so bright. It was using some kind of directed energy, but it felt like a multi-tool. It had multiple uses to it. And in this instance, what it seemed like it was doing is there was vegetation in the background, but it was over water, and it almost seemed like it was pulling water up. And yeah, it's just, there's a lot more data than that, but this is just an initial piece of it.
Okay,
cool.
Looking at that, I got to show you one more screen real quick, because without communication, working separately in different parts of the country.
I'm in Virginia. I'm in Virginia.
I'm in Hawaii. I do the same thing.
This
I
is
was
a different.
standing this is me. This is what I drew.
This is a different viewer. Yeah.
Come on.
So yeah, this is going to be an interesting, fun time.
Yeah. Okay, Dimmy.
Well, it's going to be interesting, of course, because, and I'm going to show it. Can you see it?
It's coming up now. There we go. We see it.
So that was what I was looking for, something above in the air, moving area, gravitational, energetic, carving out space, luminous flash, flashing, and of course, the same thing above under, the same thing that as you, Dick and Derek. So
Is that
the
water at the
thing
bottom?
and the energy, yes. I can make it much bigger if you can see it. So it was like energy and water, and a man-made above was swirling, and like a storm inside, like a vortex, and water or energy was coming up from down because of that kind of swirling. Energetic field, charge, heavy, water or energy, and free sensation and vacuuming forces. That's it.
Very cool.
Do you guys
All right,
do this well all the time? I mean, is this the norm?
Yeah, the team does really, really well.
I'm ready to fall off my chair here. This is amazing.
Well, yeah, we're at a professional level. We do this for paying clients on a weekly basis. So it's our full-time job. And I've been doing it 27 years. Edward's been doing it like 25. Daz has been doing it. Daz I've known 25 years.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah, Richard, what's really neat is to watch every month they do world events, and the team predicts what's going to be in the news in the upcoming month. And it's astonishing every month watching the headlines come in over the course of a month after we already debriefed it a month prior. That
I'm gonna
really,
have to follow you guys all the time. This is just
it's a lot of fun.
Well,
it's a lot of fun.
And we don't normally do UFO targets. Like this is the third one we've done in 5 years. So normally when we sit down with a target ID, it could be financial, it could be cryptocurrency, it could be historic, it could be a future target, could be a person.
And obviously no one knew this was a UFO target, obviously. I mean, you had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, when you address when I'm standing there and I close my eyes and I'm standing under the friggin' disc, I go, Jesus, oh my God, no. Okay, really? I've actually got that on a video. We videotaped some of our work.
Yeah,
So
we did some
there's
whiteboard sessions.
there's me going, yeah. Well, there's a lot to show. We'll
Yeah, we'll have a
onward.
lot coming out.
We'll go through our data quickly.
I'm going to share my teaser real quick. Okay, here we go. So again, I had an object over an area with something coming down, but I also had an observer. And this observer was, as I got into in my whiteboard session, was evaluating things like functionality and operational ability of this object that he observed. So more to come on that. So here we are, friends. We are joined with Richard Dolan tonight, and we have a target tasked by Daz looking at some experiences with Bob Lazar. More on that in just a moment. Dennis Nappy II here. We have a full gamut of viewers this evening, and our special guest, Richard Dolan, is joining us, going to provide some commentary and insight onto our RV data and to Daz's feedback here. We're joined with Edward Reardon, Naeem, and Dick Allgaier, and we have some guest viewers this evening as well. We have Dimmy and Derek. Welcome, everybody. This is a robust target. This is a robust amount of data. I'm excited to get into it. Richard, I just want to welcome you to the show as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm just very happy, and everything else that was just shown, that was on the show. People have been able to see that as well. The drawings, those are incredible. I'm already just ready to fall off my chair here.
Yeah, it's exciting watching the team do what it is they do best. So, Daz, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can walk us through what the tasking is and your presentation, and then we'll get into our data here.
Yep, no problems. It'll only take a couple of minutes. It's just a bit of background how I set up the project, and a little bit of feedback for the people out there that don't know much about the project that we're working on this one. So, okay, the project number for this, it was a random number, G7N3L2H8, or if you like just the numeral digits, it was 13069731. And all the remote viewers were blind to this target, and they only had the random numbers above there. No other information was provided to the remote viewers whatsoever, and they didn't even know I was the tasker on this target. We keep that anonymous as well, so they don't have any predispositions on the kind of targets that I like to give. So the project itself was what we called an ARV project. An ARV, or associative remote viewing, usually involves two potential outcomes, and the remote viewer is to only describe one of these potential outcomes, the one that is real or the one that comes true. Why ARV for this target? Because I didn't want to assume that the target itself and its events were real and enforce my personal beliefs on this, because I've followed this target for many years, and I do have a belief system about it. So I made it a ARV target with binary choices, and the A part of this is if it was real, they would describe the real event, and the B part of this is if it was not real, they would describe something else, which I'll go through in a second. So outcome 2, the something else, and this is the tasking behind it. If no actual real events can be sourced, the remote viewer will describe the real Buddha statue in Daz's the Tasker's back garden. And there's my Buddha statue. And as we've discussed, and as people will see in your data, there is no Buddha statue type information in there whatsoever. So it leads me to think that, the events were real. And the fact that you guys describe them in so much beautiful detail, that just adds emphasis to me that, this was real events that Bob was describing.
May I just, I don't want to talk too much here, but
yeah, go for it.
I was wondering about this potential problem that, because everyone has an idea about Bob Lazar, and I wondered if remote viewers would in fact latch onto something that wasn't true, but was kind of true in popular consciousness. I don't know if that happens, but what you're doing here, this outcome 2, I guess that seems like that's your strategy for dealing with that type of possibility. Am I right?
It is in this case, yeah. That was my thinking behind the target.
That's interesting.
try to divide them in one area. If it wasn't true, they would go to the Buddha target. If it is true, they would go to the Bob Lazar thing. But you are right in that we have experiments in the past where we can show this, that it is possible for a remote viewer, and we have to be honest about this to anyone out there. It is possible for remote viewers to pick up and describe things that aren't physical, so they exist in popular culture. So we do it. Everyone has to be a bit wary about the information from remote viewers and use it with other sources of information to confirm it. So because we can go anywhere in time and space, there are no limitations.
Yeah, thanks.
So so this was the target outcome too. If the events didn't happen, I was hoping that there would be nothing for the remote viewers to review, so they would go to the Buddha target and describe that. The actual outcome itself, the main outcome that I wanted to be remote viewed was, it's got 3 parts to it: the what, which was Robert or Bob Lazar; the where, which was Area S4 near Area 51 in Nevada, USA; and the time scale I put on this was when he was working there for a short period of time, which was between December 1998 and end of February 1989.
I think you meant 88, but anyway.
Sorry, yes. The viewer, and this is my target queue. So I always write my intent down, because we measure the accuracy against what my intent is, and it just solidifies it as well. So I wrote here: the viewer will ignore any myth, story, social construct, or non-factual events, and will only describe the real, actual events if they occurred. If no actual real events can be sourced, the remote viewer will describe the Buddha statue in my feedback. Yeah.
Amazing.
Now, the feedback itself, Robert Bob Lazar is an American businessman who claims he was hired in the late 1980s to reverse engineer extraterrestrial technology. This work supposedly occurred at a secret site called S4, a subsidiary installation allegedly located several kilometers south of Area 51. Lazar purports to have examined an alien craft and read US government briefing documents that described alien involvement in human affairs over the past 10,000 years. His claims brought additional public attention to Area 51, and here's some Area 51 there, and alleged S4 is down here somewhere. Bob also stated that doors had been camouflaged into the side of a mountain on the dried out Papoose Lake, and the same location where these images were captured in 2018. I don't know how real these are, and if they are actually the S4 ones. Here's some artist renderings of what Bob Lazar kind of described, and here's the real photographs that someone claims to have took there. And back in the 1980s, Bob Lazar made astonishing claims about the US military in a live interview with CBS Class TV, in which he appeared as a shadowy figure named Dennis, and he initially had his identity hidden first. In Lars' original 1989 interview, he said, "There's really no way I can prove it without revealing my identity and getting myself into more trouble than I already have." And over the years, that came true pretty much. When asked exactly what's going on up there, Lazar replied, "Well, there's several, actually 9 flying saucers or flying discs that are out there of extraterrestrial origin, and they're basically being dismantled. Some are in various stages of completion, built from other parts, and they're being test flown and basically just analyzed." This here's a poster from a documentary that Jeremy Corbell did in 2018. So that's good research as well if people want to know more on this topic. Here's some additional feedback here. So here's sketches from Bob Lazar himself of the sport model UFO that he claims he worked on. This is the reactor system here. And these are the gravity amplifiers, which are these little free things underneath here. The other things on this page here is a badge. I'm not sure. Richard might know on this. Is this a real badge, Richard, or is it a mock-up of one? The majestic badge.
I never thought it was a mock-up. I always had assumed that he claimed it was that was a legitimate badge. But
okay, yeah.
So,
so this is other evidence here. So a badge there. I think this is a wage slip here showing, and again, it's got the got the engine.
That's definitely legit.
Yeah. And this is just a reference here for a reference that, Bob Lazar's name was actually in the Los Alamos phone directory there. So these are just small pieces of evidence to, to kind of buck up his story a little bit. This here is just some sketches from Bob himself of the craft here, and an original sketch here. And then there's a 3D model there of the, what we call the sport model craft that he alleges that he works on. And just some more feedback from pretty much right on the spot now this month is we just had, the congressional hearings from the UFO whistleblower. And he detailed in these congressional hearings that, that there are reverse engineering programs going on, that they have craft, and that they have non-human bodies there as well. And just another fun thing that came up at the same time as this on Twitter, or UFO Twitter, was, just this quote from Bob Lazar saying, "I told you so," which I thought was pretty relevant at this time. I think these guys doing this target at this time in history is the perfect time for this. So that's pretty much it for the feedback on, the construction of this target.
Awesome feedback, Daz, and an awesome project. A lot of great drawings in there too, and great just historical photos on there that I think are very relevant.
Yeah, anyone out there that doesn't know much about this story, you can go on YouTube or TikTok or Twitter, and there are literally hundreds of video clips showing Bob Lazar, in his video testimony over the years on this. So there's plenty of information out there for people that want more on this.
Richard, any comments on Daz's presentation before we start reviewing our data?
No, everything seemed really straightforward and accurate. No, so far so good. I'm still reeling from the original drawings that you guys just showed, which I don't know how you were able to latch on.
There's more than that.
There's a lot more.
Yeah.
The entire project is available now at our private website, futureforecastinggroup.com. That's futureforecastinggroup.com. We have us showing all our data to Richard Dolan. We have video of whiteboards. We have a long conversation with him about this project, about his reaction to it, and what he feels the implications will be. The entire project, remote viewing Bob Lazar, at futureforecastinggroup.com. Join and see it today.